I'm on the wrong side of the bridge, unfortunately, Henry. I'm actually in Weston-super-Mare, which is where we currently live. My wife is from Weston-super-Mare, and despite all of my efforts for us to be in Pembrokeshire and Southwest Wales, I lost the argument, unfortunately. We're over in Weston-super-Mare, which is lovely, to be honest. But again, it's closer than being in London, which is where we were for a while. But wrong side of the bridge. A lot of people say that we're their official start to Christmas, and that's so lovely. But in truth, the tour has almost become our official start to Christmas in many ways. And you'll probably know, but we're such a family-orientated group. There's four of us, obviously all lads, but we love to have our families at shows. In particular, the community, our fan base, our incredible supporters are very much a family-orientated bunch. So it's just great in the run-up to Christmas, you know what I mean? Come November, you're kind of building up to this wonderful moment, and you're sharing that together with so many different people. So last year was the first tour in the space of about 4 years, and it was just brilliant to get back out. So for us to do it again this year and build on the good times from last year is something that we're really excited about. It sounds cliche to say, but we are like a band of brothers, like I knew the boys, gosh, from the very beginning, really. I was signed to Decca Records at Universal. The boys were signed to Warner's, and this was probably in around 2010. And we were introduced through our musical director, who we shared, to be honest. He worked for me, he worked for them. And then he introduced us together through the Samaritans record that we did, Songs to Save a Life. And we sort of bonded at Annie Lennox's studio, and we sort of stayed in touch from there. And it became, it was wonderful after the X Factor in 2024 that I went and did a load of shows with the boys as their special guests. And then, became even closer. And so, of course, through the horrific things that happened with losing Timmy, the boys have stuck together, and the fan base and the supporters, of course, you sort of try and go through those things together, and the support for the boys through that time and beyond, it's just been absolutely unbelievable. So yeah, of course, good times and bad, we've got a lot of times together. The Overtones of next year is going to be around 15 years. And just speaking from myself, over the last 10 years, it's been 10 years since I did the X Factor, Henry, which was mental, absolutely crazy. In that moment alone, even though there was a large chunk of my music career that was before the X Factor, really it was the X Factor that kind of thrusted me into the commercial mainstream spotlight, and where Wales got behind me, and that's continued on through my years, and then into the Overtones as well. So we're really, really grateful. And it's to be able to still be doing this after 15 years, at the top of our game, releasing music, releasing albums, doing tours, headline tours. There's not a lot of artists that are doing that at our level, someone who we consider to be able to get on the TV, grateful to get on the radio, but maybe not someone that you would see consistently on those things, with the top tier pop stars of today or social media stars of today. We get about our business. We know what we do. We love music. We love live music. And to be able to still do that and sell tickets and, create a great career for ourselves and a great relationship with our fans is something that we're really, really proud of and grateful for. I joined the Navy age 16. I got on a train at Tenby train station. My old man put me on a train. I joined the Navy and was within the military for 10 years, of course. So working with a team is something that is part of my makeup. So, when I was a solo artist, and little did I know it, to be honest with you, but, pulling the team in around me, my management is something that collaboration is something that I always absolutely loved. And so when I joined the group, so many people said, oh, how's it, to go from it being about you to being about the Overtones? And I for me, it wasn't just about me. It was about the team. about us achieving something. And when I joined the group, it was really clear that I'd sort of walked into something that, to be honest, I felt for a large majority of my career I was probably preparing for. So it was, in many ways, I felt like coming home when I joined the group. And I know how cliche that sounds, but again, I say this a lot, Henry, if you see a sunset, a beautiful sunset on your own, it's gorgeous. But if you share that with 3 other people that you consider brothers, that's special. And certainly what I've experienced over the last 5 years now, being part of the Overtones, has been really special. I suppose I know intrinsically what the Overtones is all about, and as much as we all would like to think it's not about the individuals within the group. It's about a bigger thing, and that is about providing people an escapism so they can just come to a show, forget about all their worries, and listen to some of the greatest music of all time. Some good times classics, not just from Stevie Wonder, The Temptations, Aretha Franklin, original songs that of course made the boys famous back in 2011 with Gambling Man, and those sort of feels, those sorts of opportunities that we can provide people to, again, forget about the worries, forget about the hardships of life, and just come and enjoy themselves for 2 hours, an hour and a half. Is something, again, that we know and understand to the core. So, coming into the group, I knew what that was all about. And again, I'd felt so passionate about that in my own fan base and what I was trying to create within my own thing for the space of 7-8 years before I joined the group. So it's for me, it was a bit of a no-brainer, and I was just thrilled that the Toners and the Overtones fan base really has taken me with such loving arms, and we've gone on to evolve. Of course, I joined in 2019. In 2021, we had a #1 album, which was amazing, especially through the difficult times of the pandemic, and then out the other side where we've now got a presence over in South America, Indonesia, Asia, grown beyond just our home here in the UK to tread international waters, which is equally exciting. And so now, we've built on our management, our teams, so we can create the next 10 years, the next era of what we consider to be a really special part of and chapters of the group. We had a couple of sort of smaller tours, which we weren't able to get over to Wales. And I sort of devastated. My first tour with the group was in 2019, and it was a moment. We do these up close and personal dates, and we're doing more next year. But within that, we share some memories, and some of our best memories of being part of the Overtones. And I don't mind sharing with you, mate, that it's probably one of my best memories within the group, and this is superseding performing at the World Cup in Qatar in front of 80,000 people, TV, all that sort of stuff. That in 2019, when we were at St. David's Hall in Wales, and all of my family were there to witness me as part of the group that I absolutely adore. And that night, I wore a black Barathea wool DJ suit that was cut for my grandfather near on 55 years previous to that. I wore that suit recut for me as a tuxedo with the boys, singing Moon River, my granddad's favourite ever song, as part of the group, in front of my grandmother, my mum, my dad, my wife. It was so special, that. And nothing will. I dare to think how something could top that feeling of pride. So Wales is always at the top of my priority, as it is with the boys. We've got to get into Wales, boys. God's country, come on. We've had many an amazing night there. In fact, I had been the boys' special guest, I think, in 2017 at St. David's Hall. And I just love that venue. I just love it. There's something special about it. Equally, we did play the new theatre last year, and the atmosphere there was absolutely electric. So really looking forward to getting back there on the 27th of November this year to again sort of bring all the family in, bring all the Welsh fans in. Of course, we've got Llandudno first data tour as well in Venue Cymru, so that's going to be great as well. So yeah, absolutely buzzing, because I actually managed Tom. I've managed Tom since Britain's Got Talent. Of course, being through every element of the industry that I have, from labels to reality shows to, you know, obviously running our label and everything else. I saw Tom as someone who is just a spectacular talent in the way that he performs, but the way that he carries himself as an individual, the pride that he has, how kind he is to everybody. And I can tell you firsthand that that guy is salt of the earth. He is one of the most hardworking, kind, wonderful, talented people that I've ever met in my life. And I've met the best of the best. And I'm so thrilled. And we're thrilled to have him back out on the tour with us, because he was such a brilliant addition to the show last year and just wonderful to have around. He absolutely fits like a glove in regard to, you know, what we do, the way that we like to carry ourselves and treat people. And yeah, thrilled for him. You know, top 5 album in the summer of his own, his debut album. The fact that he's just announced his own headline UK tour next year, 34 dates across the whole of the country with Spotlight, a new album. Again, for him to be coming out with us again to again showcase himself, promote that tour is really, really cool. And I only hope that we can keep him for the next tour as well, because it's becoming a really, really great setup with us all. I've been so guilty in the last 14 years of being involved in this industry, 15 years, gosh, more than that, that I'm always focused on the next thing and where I want to be and where we want to go, what we want to achieve. And often enough, I think we're all guilty as individuals about not looking back and realizing what we've achieved. And that in itself is so, so important, because if you, speaking as a military man, sometimes if you don't enjoy the spoils of your the battles that you have, you don't really have the perspective in order to grow to the next stage. And for so long, I didn't have these discs behind all the photos of the things that I've achieved, you know, and you know, I'll be sort of reeling, saying that, you know, in many ways, I look back and go, gosh, I wish I'd done more. And maybe I'm considered someone who, again, did this and then went on the X Factor and maybe not achieved a lot. But actually, when I see the things that, you know, being part of a multi-platinum group, #1 album, you know, written songs with the likes of John Legend, the X Factor, the Jonas Brothers, Beyonce, you know, toured with the likes of Alexander O'Neill, Simply Red, I'll look back and go, gosh, but I forget that. I forget that because I'm always focused on the next thing. So it is important. And I like to be real in the way that I talk, but make no bones about it. This industry is brutal. It is brutally hard. It is brutally hard to try and consistently stay at the top of your game, to stay relevant, to provide interest and motivation for people still to come out and do tours. That's not something that's a given at all, at all. I know that from being on the X Factor 10 years ago. You know, I came off that show and people were like, oh, you know, what are you going to do now? Or, you know, being on a TV show where 12 million people are watching you every single week is not a normal situation, and you will never really have that again. And so you've got to work hard to continue to put out quality, stay in people's minds, and, you know, motivate them to come back and be involved in shows and experience those shows. So by all means, I will absolutely always celebrate my wins. And as a group, we will always celebrate ours because they mean more, because we work hard for them. Another example, and it'll be relevant, but Sir Tom Jones. I mean, the guy I've been privileged to meet on a number of occasions. I've been privileged to interview him and really get under the bonnet. And he is considered who's just such a workhorse. And that's not for the sake of working and earning money. That's because he absolutely adores what he does. And for me, as a proud Welshman, you know, Sir Tom Jones is someone that I look up to and just think, wow, you know, what a guy. If not just for the career that you've had, but the energy and the love that you're still showing to this day is just inspiring. So, yeah, to bring Sir Tom into the game there, I think we absolutely have ambitions to continue this wonderful career for as long as possibly until the wheels fall off, as they say. But yeah, some amazing characters and influences out there that continue to influence us, and yeah, long may it continue. As I said, we've become the official start to lots of people's Christmases. This year, we're releasing a brand new Christmas single, as we did last year. It's called Turn Your Light On. That's out on the 1st of November. And we wrote that with Elliot Kennedy, Grammy Award winner. It's an original song we're really, really proud of. And what we're sort of saying to people is, this year, when you're putting up your Christmas tree and you're about to turn your lights on for Christmas, play this record. Let us be involved in that process, because that's certainly what we're going to be sort of playing out on tour to get the Christmas spirit going. And and so we're buzzing about that. So I'd love to give a little plug for Turn Your Light On out on the 1st of November and get people playing that at Christmas, because we feel it's a little Christmas classic in the making for us.